A sniper from the mountain, hidden in the foliage, opened fire and shot the driver. 11 innocent Serbian children died there. I'm often asked when I meet with groups of young people, for a story where my life was in real danger. Well, I always joke it off, saying, like somewhere with dangerous bandits, shootouts, and knife fights. There was certainly plenty of that too, but there was no real danger to my life there. But in Kosovo, once there was. First of all, it was the year 2000. The very first peacekeeping mission for Kyrgyzstan. There were only 3 of us, representing Kyrgyzstan, flag, anthem, everything as it should be. While, say, the Americans had 625, the Russians 600, and the Indians 550. Well then, nevertheless, we were extremely proud of it, and it represented a lot. Kyrgyzstan very worthily. And there were many guys who had already been on other missions, and they collect patches, caps. There's a lot of that. It's customary. They exchange, give, beg, and wheedle them out. And everyone came to us, because it was our first time. We were like souvenirs. Everyone's pestering us. Come on, give it to me. Give it as a gift. I say, guys, look, I only have 5 of them. If I give them all away now, what will I wear? And so that's a little backstory. And so these patches of mine, they're just lying there. And on this ill-fated day, I believe, when I was born a second time, in the morning, I reached into the nightstand and didn't look at which patch it was. I just grabbed something. The English patches had special Velcro, everything as it should be. But on the Kyrgyz one, it's a souvenir. There was nothing there. But it just went and stuck. I didn't look, it stuck, and I left. I arrived for duty and they tell me, you know what? You need to go to the capital today. It's 120 kilometers. And pick up some people there. A new reinforcement has arrived. You'll take 2 people. I told them I would bring them back. I said, yes, of course, let's do it right now. The commander gives me his own vehicle. He has a specialized jeep with a flagpole and a little flag that absolutely no one stops. I get in, forgetting about everything else, turn on some smooth jazz music because I love it, and off I went. And on that particular day, a large NATO convoy was heading toward a local school, carrying many children. And then, when they slowly entered a narrow gorge deep in the mountains on a bridge, a hidden sniper from the mountain, concealed within the thick foliage, fired a shot and killed the driver. Consequently, the bus filled with the children plummeted from a very great height right off the bridge into the cold river, down in the mountains. And sadly, 11 innocent Serbian children died there. Well, and the Serbs. They eventually decided to take their revenge and went out onto the main highway. They called each other from all these small villages. People just came out, about 2,000 of them, blocked the highway, and started stopping every car, flipping them over, setting them on fire, beating people, well. And I'm just driving along, listening to jazz. And I'm surprised, thinking, why is there so much police around? What's going on? Why are they all here? They should be working, not just walking on the highway. Traffic cops, I thought to myself. I arrived and picked up those 2 Malaysians. They were in their national uniforms and turbans. They have this uniform with a cockade and a turban. So we're driving with them, chatting. I turned off the radio. I'm not listening. So many mistakes. What can I say? And suddenly we're driving into the mountains, into a gorge. It's impossible to turn around. First, it's icy, and second, the road is very narrow. And suddenly I see a huge crowd of people in front of me with torches. They're walking around, hanging out like something's happening. I realize that something bad is going on, and they're already about 100 meters away. I got out. I'm walking and trying to understand. They look very similar to one another, those 2 distinct ethnic groups that were once locked in a brutal war there, fiercely fighting each other to the very death, resulting in nightmarish deaths. I honestly don't even want to try to remember those terrible horrors anymore. Physically speaking, they look very much alike. And so they're running. And I really need to figure out who is in front of me. Why? Because it's very important. If they're Serbs, don't you dare speak English. They hate America and will tear you apart instantly. If they happen to be Albanians, you must not utter a single Serbian word, or they will tear you apart just like the others. And I have to figure out who's in front of me to get my bearings. I'm walking towards them, they're running, and when I started to hear them, I heard, how they're speaking again, it's similar, swearing, cursing, very similar to Russian. And I think, phew, thank God, at least they're Serbs. By then, I could more or less engage in conversation with them. I see intensely furious and distorted faces. And I don't know what happened. I have no idea. They're surrounding me. Angry people are approaching from all sides, tipsy. Some are visibly intoxicated. I can overhear this entire conversation. Just take a look at that over there. They say, oh, an American, let's kill him right now. Let's kill the American, take the car and grab the gun. I'm actually not American. I have originally come from the Soviet Union. What Soviet Union? There's no such country. And the tactic is, I see a little kid circling around me. I've seen this before. He goes for the legs. They trip you, you fall, and the crowd swarms, tearing you apart. And you'll never find out who did it. And what difference does it make to me now? I think, well, I could pull out a gun, but there are so many of them, and to just fire at people. And I had this split second, this moment of confusion, what to do. And suddenly a kid behind me shouts in Serbian. He shouts, hey, look. But I'm translating into English now. Look, he says. Cyrillic. I found myself thinking, exactly what, where, or how could there be Cyrillic? And then I look right there and I realize God truly exists. You know, on that very day I reached out, and even without any Velcro, it just stuck perfectly. How can you possibly not believe in the Creator after seeing that, you know? I look again and think, oh boy, hey, those Serbs are all asking, where exactly is this Cyrillic? Where is it? And I want to live, so I say, here. Look here, hey, Cyrillic. They look at it and say, and what is this Bishkek Shari? They're reading it. I say, that's my main city, Bishkek. They look at me and ask, the Kyrgyz Republic, what exactly is that? Then they look at me again and say, so you are from Russia? I say, I told you right away, I say. No, you said Soviet. Did you come from Russia then? I say, yes. What? This place right here, I explained to him, is known as Kyrgyzstan, but you must understand that we originally come from the Soviet Union. He looks at me and replies, I see. So that means you are a Rus, a true Russian. And if you are a Rus, then it follows that you must drink like a Rus, you must drink just like a Russian. After saying this, he reaches out and hands me something. He is carrying this incredibly huge flask. He proceeds to pour out a full liter jar of rakia, which is a strong spirit that is 52% alcohol. And after he poured me that entire liter, he hands it over to me and says, here, take this. I realize this is a test. It's no joke. Nobody's joking with me here. Mezeima, any snacks? They say, a Russian doesn't need snacks. Russians don't eat while drinking. I say, at least give me some water, voda ima. Nema voda. And one of them is smoking a cigarette butt like this and says, here, handing me the butt. And they watch. I take this flask with both hands. And I just downed it. It's spilling, of course, but a whole liter. He says to me, he is definitely a Rus. Hey, definitely a Rus, a very good Rus. Pass through quickly, drive through fast, but tell your people over there. He says to me, that absolutely no one else gets through. It is completely blocked, and no one else will pass here anymore. I didn't say thanks or goodbye or anything. I just turn around, run to the car. I don't feel the alcohol yet. I jump in. My guys are like, you've been drinking. They say, why are you getting behind the wheel? I say, hey, didn't you hear? They didn't understand at all what had happened. Well, the first day, the third day, they were there. I said, lie down, take off your turbans, just lie down. This isn't the way, I said. Let's get through, then I'll explain everything. And we jump in the car. I started up quickly. And sure enough, they stepped aside. And when I finally made my way up to the very top, I could see that they were completely blocking off all the access points to the NATO area. NATO police, tanks already there, lights flashing everywhere. Well, when we finally arrived there, I just had to tell it to them straight. We arrived, and then I drove off a little bit further, literally about a mile away. and it hit me just like in the rakia. It just slammed into my head really suddenly. I barely parked and said, "That's it, come on, get in, let's go." They took the wheel and I collapsed into the back seat. And they brought me in and put me on the table. And I woke up there in the morning. Can you imagine? I saw it all and everyone saw me. Then the commander, a West German, calls me in and says, "Alex, I didn't expect this from you. You're a full colonel after all. What are you doing here? Is this really allowed?" I said to him, "Wait, do you even know the history?" I briefly laid out the whole sequence, the whole chain of events. He looks at me like that and says, "Well, then you need whatever you want. I'll recommend you for a medal." I said, "Yeah, Chief, you know what? We were about the same age." He was a bit older. I said, "Look, forget it. I don't need any medals. No awards, no fuss. Don't shout about it. Don't tell anyone. I've explained how it happened. And that's enough." And he said, "All right then, fair enough." He shook my hand, and I continued my service for almost another 3.5 years.